Here we go. We have some of the most high definition and clearest images of the upcoming 2021 GMC Yukon. This is a long wheelbase Denali, fully luxed out, full-size SUV, and this is the prototype that was captured testing in the United States. And we see some good details that we haven't seen before, including lights, suspension, exhaust system, wheels. In this video, I'm going to go over all of that, and I'm also going to tell you what we think is going to happen, because we don't know a lot of official specs and information from General Motors on their upcoming full-size SUVs. And this segment is starting to heat up in a big way because, of course, Ford has a redesigned Ford Expedition. There is also rumblings from FCA on the upcoming full-size SUV there, the Grand Wagoneer, that's supposed to be a Jeep product, frame-based full-size SUV. Of course, there's also Toyota with a Sequoia and Land Cruiser, and of course Nissan Armada is also around, and GM has been the leader in this segment with the Tahoe Suburban, the Yukon GMC, Yukon XL, long wheelbase, of course the Cadillac Escalade. And the only thing GM said officially is that these new full-size SUVs are coming. They didn't exactly say what model year there will be, exactly when they're going to be unveiled. All the specs are not really known yet, but we can make some educated guesses. So what we think is going to be largely, the platform is going to be largely shared with their new full-size trucks. And I'm talking about, of course, the GMC Sierra 1500 half-ton, and as well as the Chevy Silverado 1500 trucks. But if you look at the rear of this prototype, you can clearly see independent rear suspension. Yes, this is not big news because we've seen these images with independent rear suspension before, but this looks to be the closest to production prototype yet. And clearly, independent suspension is there. And this is kind of a trend because the Ford Expedition has had independent rear for many, many years, and at least a couple generations, if not 3 generations of their SUV. And independent rear suspension offers you better comfort. It also allows the manufacturer to kind of lower some of the cabin floor because you don't have a solid rear axle there in the back, and allow for more cabin space, not just for cargo, but also for the third row passengers. So you get a little bit more legroom, knee room, maybe a little bit more headroom. And let's face it, I mean, these full-size SUVs, in general, they're mostly used on the street, even though they're four-wheel drive. A lot of them have 4-low. Nonetheless, on-road comfort is really important, especially for a luxury version of the SUV like this. What else can we see? Well, this is, like I said, an XL version, basically a suburban-sized vehicle, and you could tell that by the rear door sizing and how it matches with the rear wheel opening. Another interesting part is, of course, the front, because this is where we see that kind of trapezoidal mesh grille, which is a kind of a signature with Denali. And if you talk to GMC guys, they always say that Denali is one of their most popular trim levels. It's one of the most expensive, of course, for them because it has the most equipment, the most luxury features, the most powerful engine options, etc., etc., etc. But it's a little bit more understated. So it's not really flashy, it's not really super in your face, because you do have a chrome grille generally, and of course you have like LED lights and just special colors for their Denali lineup. These wheels don't look to be too large. I think they're about 20-inch wheels, and this is just my guess just by looking. So these are not the fully blinged out 22s, but that's all right. The wheel combination looks all right here. The overall shape of the SUV, the profile of this prototype, suggests that it may share a lot of the front clip with the half-ton trucks. If I'm looking at the A-pillar and the slope of the windscreen, and also the placement of the rear view mirror on the outside. The mirror is placed not inside the window by the A-pillar, but a little bit lower on the door. And Chevrolet did this with the 2019 Silverado 1500s, and then of course the 2019 GMC Sierra 1500s. And I asked them about it, and they said it does a couple of things. First of all, it's for aerodynamics, and the overall vehicle is designed to have those mirrors in place, and they're actually fairly large, which is nice because when you're towing, you need to be able to see in the back. But also it offers a better sight line towards the front, so you have a little bit more vision when you're turning. And of course, it's such a big vehicle, you want to have all the vision possible as a driver, so it's done for those reasons. Another interesting thing, if I look at the front end, once again, we can kind of see the vertical fog lights in the front bumper, very reminiscent of the Sierra 1500 pickup truck. So if I had to look in the crystal ball and see exactly what the styling, see through the camouflage, I might say that it will be very similar to the GMC Sierra truck. It may even have those C-shaped LED signatures. We'll just have to wait and see when the truck is properly unveiled and actually see exactly what it looks like. Then if I'm looking through the windscreen at the dash, I can kind of see a cutout in the dash in front of the driver. Appears to have a heads-up display, which is a really cool feature, and it's there of course on the Sierra lineup of trucks, and they're using now a really wide high-definition heads-up display, and of course that feature will be most welcome in a SUV like the Yukon and the Yukon XL. Let's go to the running boards. It has kind of a more aerodynamics designed running board that runs all the way from the front tire to the back. That's fairly normal and appears to be slightly different design. I haven't seen this before. On the roof, there is a low profile roof rack, so very similar to what you might find on the current GMC Yukon, so that's pretty nice. But let's look at the exhaust in the back. Quad exhaust. This could be very special because it could be a high performance engine. What could it be? Well, my main guess, of course, is a 6.2 liter V8. They've had it for quite some time. The latest generation has their fuel management system where they can rotate which cylinders are firing for better efficiency. It's made it to their latest 10-speed automatic transmission. So that just makes sense that they would use a 6.2 V8 in this particular model, especially since they have quad exhaust pipes to let some of that sound just emanate through the outside. And I think that's been a signature of the Yukon. When it pulls up, it's kind of a understated, classy look like the current one. And then you can hear the V8 rumble, and you know that it's a powerful SUV and it's making a statement. So I think they might continue this with this truck. What else could it be? Some of the other engine options that are rumored is a 5.3 V8. Although I don't think it's going to be in the top of the line Denali version of the SUV. The 5.3 of course is there. It's in their arsenal of engines. What I'm hoping though is that they will have a diesel. Their 3 liter straight six is now in their half-ton trucks and is going on sale basically as we speak. Why not put it in their biggest SUVs? Because you have efficiency and it's really a smooth operating engine, you still have acceleration, and you have towing capability. So I'm really crossing my fingers for a diesel, although I don't think they'll use a quad exhaust system with a diesel. This might be a gas power plant in this particular prototype. The other thing we can see here is actually the taillights. So if you look at the taillights, there's a kind of a close-up, and you could see kind of the LED signature. It's really hard to tell with all the camouflage exactly what it could be. It's kind of reminiscent of the Sierra truck, but I think it might be kind of taller light. I mean, at least I'm hoping that it's a little bit unique and more stylish. Finally, we got to talk about towing, because these full-size SUVs, that's kind of their MO. They are supposed to be towing machines, and you might be concerned. You might be saying, well, since it's going to an independent rear suspension, how's it going to affect their towing ratings? Because the Ford Expedition is there, actually with a relatively high rating of around 9,000 pounds of max towing. And of course, if you look at other competitors, even the Dodge Durango, which is a slightly smaller vehicle, unibody design, is rated up to like 8,600 pounds. So the Yukon and XL especially, and the Suburban and Tahoe need to at least match those ratings in order to be competitive. And to do it, in style, and to do it well, And I think it's possible with independent rear because the Expedition has kind of showed that yes, it squats a little bit, but the stability is there. You can control the trailer weight. We've towed with the new Expedition many times on the iGauntlet. Of course, we've towed with many Tahoes and Suburbans in Yukons in the past as well, but all of those have been solid rear axle. They might be using at least an air helper rear suspension on this truck, or maybe at least full air suspension for comfort and also to control the trailer, maybe self-level. So that's going to be interesting to watch. And I expect these trucks to actually make a debut within the next few months. I don't know exactly when. Is it going to be Los Angeles? Is it going to be State Fair of Texas? Is it going to be next year in 2020, like in Chicago or New York? But GMC like New York Auto Show in the past, so it's possible that we have to wait that long. And of course, go back to tfltruck.com for more news, views, and real-world truck reviews. And we're going to be watching the space very closely to see what else comes of this, because GM is leading the full-size SUV segment in sales, and they look to be they want to continue that leadership by testing a lot of these prototypes that we see. Thank you.